Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and welcome back to Projections, our show about virtual reality, where this week I'm going to be talking about two games and experiences that I had a chance to recently play and test that try to fill the void, no pun intended, of LBEs in the world of lockdown and quarantine. Now, location-based experiences, LBEs, in the context of virtual reality is really interesting. These are the VR arcades or very specialized entertainment facilities like The Void, Spaces, Zero Latency that try to appeal not only to gamers and people looking for entertainment that may not have a lot of VR experience, where they want to go try the Star Wars experience at the Void, or people who do have VR experience who then want something that's more than what they can get at home with a home-based VR headset, because things like a physically built out location or in-person physical multiplayer or real-world objects you can interact with, including custom controllers and large space tracking systems. Now, of course, all of these companies are kind of struggling right now. They can't really operate while we're under lockdown, and that includes escape rooms. And so the first experience I want to talk about is a company called Adventure Lab, and they've developed an escape room, a multiplayer escape room for VR that I think is a fascinating combination of an escape room style puzzle experience that takes about 40 minutes, as well as an immersive theater experience. And it's a little bit almost like Dungeons and Dragons experience, playing with friends while there is a DM kind of watching and curating the adventure you're going on. So here's how it works. Up to 4 people book sessions like you would in a real-world escape room to play and go on this adventure, essentially. It's not the kind of game where you buy it once in the Oculus store or the Steam store and then play it as many times as you want, like a traditional game. It really is this kind of limited time appointment-based experience. So it costs right now $100 for 4 people, and what you get for that time is when you get the game code, they send you a link to download it, whether for the Oculus Quest or for desktop headsets. And then you also get a special key that then allows you at that time to boot up, go into their servers, and join into this one room. And there you are greeted by a host. And that's what makes Adventure Lab their version of an escape room, more akin to a real-world escape room and not just a multiplayer game. There is a performer who curates and guides you through this entire game experience, this escape room, these puzzles. And it's not the kind of escape room, we've done those in person before, where you go with a bunch of friends and then someone walks you through like the rules of the world and then just lets you spend an hour trying to escape that room. Here, the host is really not only acting as a guide for the tutorial and getting you acquainted with the game systems, all the mechanics of what you can do in that game, but they're also performing. They are a character in that world. And in this universe of Dr. Crumb, who runs the School for Disobedient Pets, you play an animal. So you go in, you choose an avatar, and you are, a dog or a cat with special powers, and you are then interacted with by this host. They speak to you, they walk you through in character while they are, reading off of a script and performing. They are guiding you through the mission you're supposed to go on.
I'm the chief. How you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Excellent. Well, sounds like you're both feeling good. Jinx. Just kidding. All right. Well, looks like you're ready to go. You there, you're a little bit naked. You mind getting into one of these here disguises?
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed if you're not. Now, come on over here. Perfect. All right. I can tell you're going to do great. Now, let's get you started training up. Come on this way, and we'll take you to the training room. Yep, follow me. Now, your mission. Now you see the gravity, exactly. Your mission is to find out what Crumb is up to and bring him down.
After you go through that training, you're then thrown into the world. And here's where it got really interesting because you meet then Dr. Crumb, the villain of the story, who is also a character and yes, performed by the same host.
You're all disobedient. Is that
Oh,
right?
no. Bad.
No.
Yeah. No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
No. You seem a little bit confused. That's all right. You see, disobedience is exactly what I'm looking for. You see, this is a
yes,
training.
yes.
Then yes, someone's a brown noser. I see you. You see, this is a training school, but the question is, what are we training for? Anyone? Anyone? No. Well, to be in my minion army, of course. You see, you'll get to be as disobedient as you want while we take over the world. Come on, guys. That's your cue.
So the performer not only plays the introductory, chief, the guide who sends you on the mission, but also plays multiple roles. Now you don't, of course, interact with multiple NPCs or multiple performers at the same time. It's just the one performer, but the ability for this performer, this host, to switch voices and use improv skills and interact with you and not just feel like they're reading off of a script, but really feel like they're interacting with you and encourage responses, that made it feel more like immersive theater and a little bit like D&D, more than just your traditional escape room. But there are puzzles. So you're sent off onto 3 separate missions that require a light amount of puzzle solving. It's not very complex dexterity in like the type of VR puzzles we've seen in games like The Room VR or The Gallery. It's not requiring a lot of physical dexterity. It's requiring a lot of teamwork and communication and these powers that you as these avatars have. And while you're embarking on this mission, that host is watching you. They have this bird's eye view of the whole map and they're making note of your conversation because all of that information of how you solve the puzzle then gets fed into their feedback to you. They then engage with you as Dr. Crumb, give you feedback, poke fun at you.
Yes, good evil laughter again. But wait, there was someone who really stood out on this one. Now, who said use the 3rd dimension? Who was that?
That was
yes,
me.
that was you. You're my new favorite.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Well, don't get too cocky. All right. Now, I have a good feeling about you. Come with me. I want to show you a secret. Yeah, come this way.
And it was really, really interesting because unlike in physical, real-world immersive theater, like Sleep No More or in San Francisco, the Speakeasy experience that I've done before, VR actually, I think, lends itself really well to this type of performer-participant experience because there's not the awkwardness of talking to a real person and knowing that they're performing and you have to play along, make eye contact. And it gets really kind of socially awkward in person for some of those. Here, you're both behind avatars. They are Dr. Crumb, you are this animal, and I think VR allows you more freedom to play along and have fun, and the awkwardness really went away. I found it really, really interesting and engaging. Now, the whole thing lasts about 40 minutes, including about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the training tutorial. So there's not a ton of game there, but every minute I thought was incredibly enjoyable, and really hats off to the performer who guided us through this. They were just top notch. It was really, really well done, really well performed, and I can't wait to see what Adventure Lab does next in terms of expanding, developing more of these escape rooms, more of these adventures, whether it's in this cartoonish world of Dr. Crumb or in other styles. I would love to see them over time develop maybe more complex puzzles, things that are more akin to the escape room, the traditional escape room experience that requires a little more brain teasing, a little more puzzle solving, a little more of that communication. And maybe over time, as users are more comfortable with VR headsets and are return customers, they'll have some more difficult experiences for them. Now, the second LBE substitute is actually used to be an LBE game. It's called Tower Tag. And over in Europe, it was one of the games that you could go to a VR arcade, put on a headset, and hold a custom made controller and play this kind of laser tag, but in VR, in a kind of large play environment, a room scale based environment. And the developers of Tower Tag have also now released that same game on the Steam store. And it's a really interesting proposition because you can tell the game was really made for VR arcades. It's a competitive multiplayer game up to 8 people. The graphics look great, and you essentially play a version, like I said, of laser tag. There's deathmatch, there's elimination, and then there's a command point control mode called Gold Tower. And the environments are these vast spaces filled with these platforms, each of the platforms corresponding to the play area that you would have in a VR arcade or the space you would have set up in your home for this instance. And it's called Tower Tag because you're on these control platforms, these towers, but there's also a pillar in the middle of each tower that acts as kind of a shield for you to hide behind, as well as encourage you to really walk around that pillar. It's like local locomotion, while you also can jump between the pillars by grappling and then warping over to them. It's really fluid movement. You use the grip button, you then hook on to a tower, snap your hand back, your wrist back, and then you fly over. Really comfortable and fun, but they're really encouraging this kind of cooperative multiplayer play where you're strategizing, you're positioning your team members, healing each other as the team members advance, and then having these shootouts while you're on your own control platform and sniping enemy players on their platforms, whether it's across the map or in a platform adjacent to yours. And here's where the interesting aspect comes in taking that very basic and simplistic game and trying to get people to play it at home. Because when you play Tower Tag at a VR arcade, they're going to give you a custom controller that looks like the game model. And that's one of the benefits of LBEs, that there can be these custom fabricated controllers that increase the sense of presence because they match what you're holding matches what you see in game. And developers here have decided to release the 3D model, as a 3D print file based on the exact model that's used in Tower Tag, and they sent you one. So this is essentially what you would be playing with if you went to Tower Tag at an LBE. And it's made for use with the Oculus Touch controller. I'll do an assembly. It's actually really, really well designed. And the amazing thing is that this is now a publicly available file for you to download if you have a 3D printer. There may be some of you out there who may have both 3D printers and VR headsets. I would assume that some tested viewers would be in that camp. And this is a really, really nicely designed mount for the Oculus Touch controller. There are, of course, a bunch of kind of pistol grip mounts that you can download on Thingiverse or buy on Etsy to play for games like Pistol Whip or Space Pirate Trainer. But I love the way this locks into the controller and makes it basically a two-handed grip blaster. Really secure and nice weight distribution. This is only 10% infill, 3-layer thick shell. So it's sturdy enough, not super heavy, but it's good enough to give it some substance, some weight. And because this model is perfectly matched up to the game model, it does add a little bit of enhancement of presence, a sense of that you're actually getting more than your traditional VR game that you play at home. Now, one of the challenges, because this is relying on people to buy the game and then play multiplayer, is the population of people, and there aren't simply that many people who have Tower Tag right now. There are bots that help fill those lobbies, and one of the things that devs are doing is starting a summer league with a real cash prize to encourage people to practice, to fill up those lobbies, and then compete in a tournament to win that prize. Now, what I'd love to see for this developer is to really develop more games. They could be mini games, arcade style games, shooting galleries that would use this game model. Because if they're asking people to buy Tower Tag and download and print this, I want to get more use out of this 3D printed blaster, and maybe even allow other game developers to tap in this game model if they want to create some type of standard two-handed single controller game using this print, so to allow people to make, again, more use of the plastic that they're printing out. I think it's a really interesting concept. Not enough game developers working VR have tried experimenting with that, and completely understandable because not everyone's going to have VR headset or access to a 3D printer. But hats off to them for making this available. We have links to the print file below. Even if you're not going to try out Tower Tag, which I encourage you to do if you're going to print this out, it works really well as a blaster for Pistol Whip as well, or Crysis VR-A-Gade 2, which also just launched this past week, early access on Steam. So that's it for projections this week. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to know what VR experiences you're trying right now that are substitutes for LBEs, whether it's something that's replacing teleconferencing or escape rooms, or what you're using to hang out with friends in VR. Let me know in the comments below. Love to try those demos out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.